Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest Patreon supporter, Jeffrey. Greatly appreciate it. First thing up today, Volkswagen announced their over-the-air updates for all ID models. Yes, they've had this before, but their over-the-air updates, you had to go to a service center of sorts to actually do it. So technically it wasn't over the air, but now it seemingly is. But I'm really showing you this to show you their press release and what they said. Thus far, Volkswagen remains the only high-volume manufacturer to provide this technology for its customers. Now sure, high volume is arbitrary and they are probably saying Tesla is not high volume, but I just think they could have said something like they are one of the only ones to provide it, but Volkswagen has been known for scandals in the past and some things never change. At Giga Texas, they are welcoming some new employees as we get that much closer to production. Now, there has been no official announcement, but some photos show that the company is welcoming new employees with a little celebration. These images are courtesy of Joe Tetmeyer on Twitter, who does some of the drone flyovers, and if you look at the image, you can see a welcome spelled out in balloons with some tables and chairs. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this one, but this sign right here does say Tesla employees with an arrow of where they are to enter the facility. Now, yes, there have already been some employees there, but this may indicate a new batch of employees arriving at the site. So exciting times at Giga Texas. Pretty exciting news here. The Tesla co-founder JB Straubel announced a new 100 gigawatt hour battery material factory in the US specifically for cathodes. So most of us to date have known Redwood for their recycling prowess and what they are working on, but now they are expanding to essentially create the entire supply chain of batteries and to do as much of that work as possible here in the US. So to catch you up to speed, they're testing its recycling process with scrap from Panasonic's operations at Giga Nevada, and in July, Redwood announced it received a $700 million investment to accelerate its plans. And they said, we've shared a lot about our recycling work, which is certainly a core component of the battery sustainability equation, but it's only the tip of the iceberg for Redwood. Redwood will produce strategic battery materials in the US, supplying battery cell manufacturing partners with anode copper foil and cathode active materials. Redwood just announced they will build a new factory in North America to produce 100 gigawatt hours of cathode materials by 2025. By early 2022, Redwood will announce a site for North American battery materials manufacturing facility and begin ramping production. By 2030, they expect their production output to scale to 500 gigawatt hours per year of cathode active materials, which would enable enough batteries to power 5 million EVs. And one would have to imagine that Tesla would be a main beneficiary of the work that Redwood plans to do. German authorities give Tesla 2 more pre-approvals, and at some point you have to ask yourself, how many authorities and approvals does one company need over in Germany? It's just so crazy. But anyway, the Brandenburg State Environment Agency has granted Tesla 2 more early approvals, and now the overall final approval is likely. All authorities involved have now confirmed that the final overall approval for Tesla is likely. Last sentence though, if, contrary to expectations, the final approval is not given, Tesla will have to demolish all buildings at its own expense. That won't happen, but technically, it's still an option. The US is now asking for help from 12 other automakers to share some data about their level 2 driver assistance systems in their investigation of the autopilot crashes with Tesla. It has asked GM, Toyota, Ford, Volkswagen, and others for a comparative analysis with other production vehicles equipped with the ability to control both steering and braking and accelerating simultaneously under some circumstances. So asking for all of this new information from all of these other automakers, it may take time for them to compile, which means we were already expecting to wait a few months to get a result from the investigation. Now we might have to add a few more months onto that timeline. Now, here's a question for all of you. A lot of people say that the headlights on the Model S and X are far inferior to the headlights on the Model 3 and Y, which of course isn't ideal when you have the S and X set up to be the premium vehicles in the Tesla lineup. First, is that true in your experience? For those of you that have been in the 3 and Y and the S and X, are they really that much better in the 3 and Y? Just one anecdote, but here we go. From William G 007. I have a plaid Model S now, came from a 2019 Model 3 Performance. The headlights on the Model 3 Performance were better for sure. More uniform, fired further into the distance. The S has adaptive lights on corners, which are okay, but the headlights themselves are a bit of a travesty considering the price of this car. We all deserve better, and I expect we see better in a refresh down the line. But let me know, do you agree with William G? An issue that some users are experiencing with the new vision-based update. If you take a look at this Google image, the street view, you can see we have a 20 mph speed limit sign here, followed by this east sign with a 60, but it's a white sign with black lettering of similar sizing. So basically this user was saying that autopilot saw this sign, but then later saw this one and changed the speed to 60 miles an hour, which for obvious reasons is a problem. And there were definitely multiple other users that had a similar experience with the new vision-based system, and some even on the old system. And one in particular, but a different scenario, they were talking about school zones and how those signs can be interpreted as speed limits, which of course can cause problems as well, going from maybe 50 or 60 miles an hour to abruptly down to 25 or 30. So hopefully Tesla can patch this up with a software update. Sirius XM radio is now available natively in the Model S with the latest update 2021.32.10. This one also has an immersive sound audio improvement, which is nice. Now, some of you may be wondering who still listens to Sirius XM radio. Surprisingly, I actually have it. I think I pay like $15 a year for the service. They have some good fantasy football talk and some other stations that I do enjoy if I just want to be lazy and not listen to or curate my own playlist. But regardless, it's nice to have the option natively in these cars, and I would imagine sometime soon we should see this on the 3Y and X as well. And as you can see briefly here is the interface itself for Sirius XM radio. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So it looks like the Tesla brand electricity will be available in Germany no later than 2022. So Tesla is intending to offer its services to clients across the country no later than the beginning of 2022, and a nationwide rollout is planned. At the moment, currently the offer is directed exclusively to customers who have installed a rooftop solar system and a home storage battery, a Powerwall. By combining these households, Tesla creates a virtual power plant and can manage it using its AutoBidder software. So any Germans out there with a Tesla ecosystem at home, be sure to keep this in mind in the coming months. Rivian's first waypoint charging stations have popped up around Moab, and their waypoints are similar to Tesla's destination chargers, the Level 2, not fast charging. These first chargers were spotted by a member of Rivian forums who noticed the presumably solar-powered chargers at Under Canvas, a campsite that's just north of the popular off-road trails in Moab, Utah. Here you see a picture of the charger itself. Looks pretty sleek to me. Looking at Rivian's website, you can see they are installing 10,000 additional Level 2 chargers, and if you click, you can see Level 2 is capable of delivering 25 miles of range per hour. This additional 10,000 units is set to come through 2023 across the US and Canada at places where you shop, play, and eat. And the good news is these are open to the public for EVs using the J1772 plug. If you're not familiar, this is the type of plug used by most electric vehicle makers, of course including Rivian, for Level 1 and the Level 2 charging. This plug is used for Rivian Waypoint chargers and the Rivian Home wall charger, making them compatible with other EVs that have the J1772 plug. And in case you missed it, about a week ago, Rivian announced that they were going to delay their infamous tank turn feature. Basically, it's a lot harder than they thought it was going to be and far more inconsistent, given the different terrains of real-world land. The main problems were, one, the grip. If the wheels are on different elevations, the grip is going to be different and the car would start turning and moving instead of turning in place. If it's on a hill, it's going to slowly go down the hill. And the other was kind of comical. It said that the car was spinning too fast, so it might feel more like a ride at a theme park than a useful feature for real-world use. So hopefully Rivian can solve these problems and figure it out, but it's not going to be immediately at launch. Morgan Stanley's analyst Adam Jonas has initiated coverage on Lucid with an underweight rating and a $12 stock price target, which is a 40% downside relative to a previous closing price of around $20 per share. Jonas said the market was ascribing an unusually high probability of success to Lucid Group on the back of its $31 billion pre-revenue market cap. While the analyst conceded the company might occupy a sustainable niche in the highly competitive EV market, The road ahead would likely be littered with many obstacles, to which I would definitely agree. For inquiring minds, the short interest for Lucid is $872 million, this according to S3 Partners. The venture capital arm at General Motors has invested millions of dollars in Oculi, a US startup maker of software for radar sensors used in self-driving cars. This coming from the co-founder of Oculi, Stephen Hong. GM will plan to use this low-cost software to boost the resolution of radars and scale up its partially automated vehicles and full self-driving cars. So on one hand, we have GM now investing in a software company that should help boost the performance of the radar sensors in their vehicles, and on the other hand, we have Tesla striving to eliminate the radars altogether, and they have already done that in their newest vehicles. So pretty clearly two very different paths. Some interesting quotes here though from Hong. He said, "Traditional radar is very low resolution and very noisy, but high resolution radars are a key backup to cameras and other sensors when they fail, thus providing extra safety." He even went as far as saying he expects Tesla to embrace radars as prices decline. It's gonna be a no-brainer. I'm not sure I agree, Mr. Stephen Hong, but there you have it. But that is all for today. I want to leave you with one clip that I thought was awesome of FSD Beta 10 shared by Holmar's catalog on YouTube. Please take a second to like the video. If you did, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and a big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.